Hi guys, it's been a while and I thought I want my summer holidays, I have plenty of time, I can do what I want, I can go crazy. I've sat in my room for about the past month, but it's okay, that's what I do usually. That's really sad, isn't it? Yeah. Well, the holidays haven't been great. It started from the start really. It wasn't even the summer holidays yet. I took time off school and I was going to Florida and I was so excited. And then we got there and it was great for 3 days. And we went to Universal, we went to SeaWorld. That's where we went. SeaWorld, Universal twice, SeaWorld once. And then the fourth day, well really what I thought had happened was we went into Walmart, right? Or was it Walgreens? It was Walgreens we went into. And we bought a family pack of Oreos. I wasn't going to share them, it wasn't for the family, it was for me. And I think I bought them a couple of days before I'd ended up taking ill. But what I'd done is that night before I went to bed there was maybe about, you know how it's like rows, so it was like birthday cake Oreos, it was like row, 2, 3, 4 rows. And I'd only finished one row. And then that night I finished the other 3. So I wake up during the night and I'm like, I'm being really, really sick, right? And this happens a lot, like I take too much sugar and I'm sick, right? I'm weak, like really weak, and it was horrible and I was just being sick and I was sick. And I didn't want to tell my gran and papa that I'd ate all the Oreos, so I hid the packet in my bag. They found it after I came out, but not like came out like I'm gay, but I've done that already, I'm not doing that again. Well, I mean, I was really, really worried because I was like, they've shouted at me before about it, like, why do you eat so much sugar, then you're sick, and then like they start shouting at me and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not gonna tell them, I'll be fine. And then they're like, it's heat stroke, and I was like, oh, I was like, sure, okay. I was like, it's totally heat stroke. And then I just tried to put it in my mind, and I was like, okay, I was still sick obviously, I couldn't really put it out of my mind, but essentially I was just trying to, oh, heat stroke, I'll be fine in a couple of days. And it didn't get better. It wasn't heat stroke. So maybe I was lying in bed for 4 days, we were there for 2 weeks, and I was lying in bed for 4 days and it was just, then like, you know that, because you're being retching and you're like, ugh, and it's horrible. And you have that kind of, after it, you have this kind of pain in your like, in your abdomen. And I was like, oh, that's just because I've been so sick. And I was like, oh God, what am I gonna do? I was like, oh no, I'm fine. My grand's like, oh my, you're such a shame, but it's because you're not used to the sun because you sit in bed all day. I was like, stop blaming me for this. And obviously if it was heat stroke, that probably would be the problem, because I don't leave my bed. And walking about those parks, I was tired. Like, I'm not used to what, 31 degrees. I'm used to Scotland's temperatures, 8 degrees at high. Like, that's high for us. Like, we go at 8, it's 8 degrees today. No, it's not, but like our high's like 15. So, and I was just, I wasn't used to the sun, but I wasn't gonna blame it because I kind of knew it was the Oreos. Well, I thought it was the Oreos, that's for sure. So 4 days go by, I'm not any better, I'm really not any better. And this kind of pain went away apart from on this side. And I knew that's where my appendix was, and I was like, huh. No. I was like, no. I was like, oh, crap. So my gran, I never told my gran, I just thought, right, I'll be fine. But she phoned the doctors, I'd put off phoning the doctors. I was totally terrified, and I was like, he's gonna be scary, and he's gonna tell me I have some sort of disease. And I was really, really scared. Even though I knew it's probably my appendix, you still have that thing in the back of your mind of, what if it's not your appendix, what if it's not this, and you have like something else, like, I don't know, just like something else. And it was really scary. And then the doctor came in, and I thought it was going to be some like sort of creep, like, hello, can I check your heart? And I'd be like, no, don't touch me. But he was really hot, and I was like, I was lying in bed, I'm vomiting, I'm in pain. I'm like, he's like, so when was your last period? And I was like, why are you asking? Are you trying to flirt with me? On the side I'm going, don't say that. And he just laughed, he's went, and I was like, huh, okay. And I was like, great. And he just went, I was like, I can't remember what I said, I told him. But he asked me, like, he was really hot. I just kept staring at him. I was like, he was like, oh, me and my wife and kids. I was like, I felt ill again. I was like, I'm gonna be sick. I was like, you have wife and kids? I was like, Jesus. But he was really nice, and he told me that it was my appendix and I had to go into hospital that night. So I went to the hospital. Just to clarify, I've never been in a hospital. in Scotland or the UK, never mind in America. And there's hospitals are amazing. I went to the Dr. Phillips Hospital, that's the closest to me, and all the doctors really lovely. But what happened was the person that was doing my IV? Where's that arm? No, she was taking bloods from this arm and she couldn't find my vein. And I was left with a bruise literally about that size on my arm, and it was huge. And apparently that's nothing. And I was like, how is that nothing? And then I got into this arm and my IV was put in. The IV was fine, it was sore, but it wasn't so bad. And then they told me that I had to get an operation. And they transferred me to the Albert Palmer Children's Hospital, which was a really, really nice place. It was gorgeous, it had all this kind of stuff. It was like action men and stuff, like kind of like Avengers and stuff, a big statues, and obviously it's for kids. And I was like, why am I going to a children's hospital? I'm 16. They were like, well, we don't really take under 20s. I'm like, really? I was like, you're a hospital? I was like, you know what, not gonna argue with them. Go to this children's hospital. And they were really, really nice. But so what happened was I went in for this operation, and that's the funny part is, so that night I got put into hospital, into the Albert Palmer. It was maybe about 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was there for like 4 hours or something at that hospital. And by the time they transferred me and stuff as well. Yeah, that was quite eventful. They were just like, when I was in the ambulance, they were really, really nice people. And they kept calling me mum, and I was like, thank you. And it wasn't something that I probably should. I was not myself. I was worried, and I was crying all the time because I was just like, I don't want this operation. But it was fine. The journey was fine. I got there and they told me that I'd get the operation that morning. So at 1 o'clock, they woke me up at 6 and they were like, here's some hot wipes. And they were the most horrific thing I've ever put in my body. It was like, and I was in so much pain. I had to get the woman to do it for me. I was like, can you do my back and my front? Because I mean, I could do my front, but it was like, she was wanting me to do like my legs as well. And I was in my legs, I was going, oh my god. And she's like, I'll just do you. And I was like, excuse me? She was like, I'll do your wipes. I was like, okay, that's fine then. And she done it, and I felt so awkward. I got my gran and my papa sleeping in like the wee bed bits they give you. I'm sitting completely naked, and this woman's washing me. And I mean, like, that was a first for me. I was like, okay. I didn't know what to do. I was just gonna like, okay. So funny. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And she was like, oh no bother, I'll see you for the operation. So that I get taken down, and they prepped me and stuff. And it was a lovely woman. She was talking to me, and then the anaesthetist came down. I think that's what you call it? Yeah, anaesthetist. I think. That's probably wrong. I'm probably gonna get hit for that. But yeah, she came down and she told me that she was gonna give me the anaesthetic. And I was like, local anaesthetic? Fine. So they put it in my IV, but they give you it at 25. I don't know what it is. I think it's not millilitres, I don't think. Is it millilitres? It might be. 25 at a time. They said 50 should do me, and it never. I was just sitting on 20, I was on 50 and I was going, Gran, I'm completely zoned out. And she was laughing at me, and I was laughing. When I got up and she told me, I was laughing myself. I'm totally being serious. I'm like, I'm zoned out right now. And the woman's just laughing, and then she put another 25 in me and I was out. I don't remember anything, but what I do remember is waking up, and it was the most horrible part. I woke up to them pulling the tube out my nose to stop me from choking or whatever, to help me breathe and stuff. And I woke up and that was getting removed. I was like, ugh. It was horrible. It was the most, I could feel it, and I was like, oh, that's horrible. And it was horrible, and it's not pleasant. But they woke me up and they were like, hi, do you want some Gatorade? And I was like, no please, I can just get water. Because at that time, from 5 o'clock that following morning, night, sorry, because I wasn't eating. So 5 till that morning, I hadn't ate a thing. That's like about 14 hours, right? And I was hungry and thirsty. They wouldn't let me drink, they wouldn't let me eat because it's hard to sort of offer it. But it turns out my appendix had burst. So instead of staying in for maybe 2 days in the hospital, I stayed for 6. And it wasn't as if it was unpleasant, it was just the fact I wanted to go on all the rides. And I wasn't let out till the Saturday, and my flight was on the Sunday. And that night my grandma was like, why don't we go to Alton Towers, Universal Studios? And I was like, yeah, I'll go on stuff. And then my grandma's like, you think you're going on stuff? That's funny, hen, no. And I was like, why not? And she's like, because you just had an operation. I guess that was 6 days later. Yeah, we got home fine though. We thought we weren't going to get home at all. But we did get home eventually. and the plane was, usually the plane going home's fine for me, but because I was like on antibiotics and I was just feeling really, really crap, I got home and I was just sick. I was on, the car journey was long and it just made me really, really ill. And on that day we had to go pick up my dog from my aunt's, and it was just, it wasn't good. It was just a really long journey and I was feeling ill and I hadn't slept. And I tried to sleep on the journey because the plane was pretty much empty, but I tried to sleep. I got a window seat to myself. And honestly, I still feel sick talking about it now because it was such a horrible sick feeling. It's not nice. And they had no air in the car as well, the taxi we were in. And I was like, open a window, please. I'm too nervous to ask to open the window in case they stab me. Because that's in Glasgow. We weren't in America anymore. We can go, can you open the window? They go, of course. Can we open the window? No. Okay, that's fine. Terrified. I'm probably just overreacting, but I mean that's how I think of it. So that wasn't the best. But I mean, I still enjoyed the 3 days I had. And eating the Oreos, which I'll probably never eat again because I kind of do blame them for my vomiting, really. But apparently the plane can cause your appendix to burst. But I don't know. Really, I don't know. It was just a really bad experience, really. It's just typical of me and my luck. Like, all of this stuff happens to me. Like, I go on holiday and I end up like in hospital for 6 days, and then 4 days in pain, and then 1 day left on my holiday and I ended up in the hotel room anyway because I couldn't walk properly. Yeah, they had me walking about when I was in hospital. They had me walking about in like the ward. No one was really in the ward, but I was walking and I could hardly walk and I'm going, oh, help me. And they're like, oh, you're doing so well. I'm like, please don't make me walk anymore. And they're like, no, you have to before you get ulcers. I was like, I don't care, let me die. But obviously I'm still alive and I'm here and I'm well. Yeah, summer hasn't been very good anyway. Not really done much. I've seen Finding Dory, which is great. It's so sad. I was crying half the way through it. I was like, oh my god, it's so sad. He doesn't want to go home and she's making him go home, but he's going with it anyway to be happy. And my grand just looked at me, she was like, really? I was like, it's so sad. It really is sad. Go see it. It's really good. Nothing really else. I've been rabbiting on for 12 minutes and 40 seconds. So, really, I should go. I just thought I'd tell you about my experience and how it was something and it wasn't the best, but it happens, doesn't it? Anyways, thank you for watching. If you've stuck this whole video, well done, because it's not easy to listen to me for 14 minutes or whatever I said, 13 minutes now. It's not easy, so thank you for listening and watching.